But
I think it would have happened.
It would have happened, yeah, but he died too young, you know? And I think that if we're talking just about MCs, which is why I have Big L as my number 2 for 95, is that just lyrical ability, skill, flow, humor. Like, his sense of humor was amazing. You would literally be laughing and like your jaw dropped at the same time about his skill. But Big L, number 2, 95 for me, easy.
Yeah, I mean, to continue, I was about to say, skipping my place, but my number 2 is also Big L, and I mean, my thoughts personally are he's just not one of those MCs you can capture on an album. That wasn't him. He was the dude, like you said, who would just kick a freestyle on the radio, and that would be the dopest shit he did.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
And his major singles were all a little too crafted. I mean, he worked with Kid Capri. He was trying to make more of an anthem, and I think DITC actually held him back because he wasn't like Diamond D. He wasn't like Fat Joe. He wasn't like anyone with the group that he hung around. Like, that wasn't him. He was a flamboyant dude, and that was his eventual record label was Flamboyant. He was flamboyant for life, and DITC was not. DITC might have been the opposite of it.
That kind of makes sense with the Jay-Z connection and Rockefeller.
Yeah. I think Big Al wanted to do kind of what Jay-Z did, not be a part of a group and be a part of a collective. He wanted to be himself and his own brand. And he probably would have broken off from the ITC, I think, and he would have done his own thing. But when I look back at Big L, I mean, he had so much talent, and I think they were trying to, like, Illmatic him and craft this perfect album. And, I mean, songs like the fucking Graveyard are a perfect example. It was a posse cut, and that's probably the sickest song on that, or his sickest verse on that album, just because it was organic. He was working with other people, and he was striving, but on other songs like MVP, it was kind of more of an anthem, and it was something that he wasn't good at. So, I mean, but talent, he had all the talent in the world, so he's number 2.
Just to interject with, and BC, maybe you can remind me of the name of the track, the Lord Finesse track, but I have the Big L, cut, the piece of the verse right now that I want to spit because it's so dope. And he says,
Did you say remix or something?
Yes. What remix?
What you say remix? It's a remix.
Yes, it's definitely a remix, and I forget the name of the fucking track, but he says, I only roll with originators. Chicks stick to my dick like magnets on refrigerators. That shit's fucking ridiculous, bro. Like, he just kills that.
Yeah, that's
What You Say remix?
Yeah, I think What You Say remix.
Yeah, that's Lord Finesse. The What You Say remix and the original at Percy P, and then Big L joined DITC and they remixed the song for the album.
Oh, Yes You May.
Yes You May.
Yes You May.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Yes You May remix. Yeah. If you don't have that, if you never listen to that, the Big L verse on the Yes You May remix is seriously one of the dopest verses. What we have here is the Yes You May remix, right? Like, Lord Finesse's verse is dope on there, but Big L is just, it's so hard to follow up. It's so fucking ridiculous. Chicks stick to my dick like magnets on refrigerators. I'm a crazy mean lyricist, many are in fear of this. Yeah, so they stay clear of this. And those that refuse to order Big L proves the slaughter. Niggas hear me and take notes like a news reporter.
Oh, that's enough. That dude is insane, yo.
Yeah, we can't give him special treatment.
Right.
But
R.I.P.
So that's number 2.
I lost our order now.
You see, you're number 2.
Number 1 MC for 95.
Or number 2.
He's in number 2.
Oh, word.
Number 2 now. So my number 2 is another artist that didn't have an official album this year, but I had to go on just influence and who's just clearly the best at that time. I had to go Biggie. He had the Junior Mafia project, and then he had singles and remixes.
Yeah.
But Biggie was still like 94. We still were fresh off of Ready to Die. So all the Ready to Die singles were still playing in 95.
Yeah.
And Biggie was just still like just the dude, like just the best. You know what I mean? And I wasn't a Bad Boy head. When I heard Bad Boy, I was like, they weren't my taste. I was more Duck Down. I was more Mobb Deep. But you couldn't deny Biggie. As much as Puff Daddy annoyed you maybe, but you couldn't deny Biggie. and he had to fit. He probably stole the Prodigy because P, I can't front on P, but
yeah, I mean, didn't the show come out in '95?
the show, soundtrack.
He was all on tour during '95.
Right. So he ran '95 as well without actually really having a project. But Biggie's my number 2.
Yeah, I'm with that. Can't argue that.
Alright, so this one was the number 1 MC of 1995.
Well, 2. Well, everybody did there too?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is one.
Okay.
That's number 1. So for me, this is a little bit of a hometown bias, I suppose.
Oh man, we already know what's coming up.
For me, it's Black Thought.
The Roots.
You know, Do You Want More came out in 95, and you know, again, we're getting into maybe previewing what we're going to talk about with the records, but Do You Want More, like, if I was pressed to say what's my favorite Roots album, like, it's really hard for me to say any other record but Do You Want More. The way that, so the original album, the first album, Organics, is very fucking dope. Slept on, really.
Millennials, you need that in your iPod.
Yeah, if you don't have Organics, the plain black, I have it on vinyl, the plain black cover, all it is black with the Roots and the little white all caps writing on the left hand side. Organics is dope, but Do You Want More, they took it to another level. It's hard for me to say Organics is better than Do You Want More. Do You Want More took it and improved on it. And Black Thought at the time was still developing his style, but I think that he was bringing it in a way that other cats, East Coast, West Coast, wherever you were, weren't bringing it, because he had a live band and he had, you know.
I probably took that Tribe brand new Heavy's feel to a different level.
Right. Yeah. It was like a Native Tongues vibe, but a Philly flavor.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And it may be a hometown bias, but I can't put another MC over Black Thought. I mean, if we're talking about top 3 MCs ever in any era or period, you know, I mean, I know he's on the fucking Jimmy Fallon show every night now, which is a little. It's hard to say that, like, that's my favorite hip hop. As a hip hop head, as a hardcore hip hop head, to say that's my favorite MC ever when he's on the Jimmy Fallon show every night is hard.
Right.
But he was that fucking good. I can't deny it. And I love the man. But he's doing his thing now. And he's getting his money, so I can't hate on him for that. But Black Thought is my number 1 for 95.
Okay. Well, he's my number 1 too. Obviously. I mentioned it earlier, but I guess I'll add another point that Open didn't talk about, which was just his side projects, the people he chose to work with, one of being one of my favorite producers, DJ Crush. He actually went to Japan and made the effort to connect with this producer one-on-one to see what was happening in Japan. And it was it was after Wu-Tang had been there and everything, but it was just not many people at the time were willing to go take a limb on something like this, and this was very big for him. And he also did a track with Ward Finesse with a jazz artist that year called Relax.
Yeah.
And Ward Finesse did the remix, which actually that's how I originally heard it. But if you go back and listen to the original, he was about experimenting at that time, and I really appreciate that.
We're hitting up Armand on a special request to see if he picks up. Maybe we can get his input before we finish this off. But go ahead, Fish.
Yeah, I mean, Black Thought, I agree with everything. I mean, he might not have been shining like Prodigy was at the time, or as popular as Biggie, but consistent-wise, he's the most consistent. I really can't think of anyone more consistent.
I'm surprised you kind of had.
Please leave your message.
I'm surprised, you had him early because you were saying that they hadn't peaked yet and kind of haven't.
No, but I mean, yeah, just that live show. Because I mean, I saw them first live in '96, and obviously it wasn't '95, but they were doing their thing, and their live show was something to be seen. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, they would be on stage covering Jay-Z songs. You know, this Black Thought knows not only his verses,
Nah, he's
but
incredible.
everyone's.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
So yeah, he's number one.
He does this routine where he'll do G-rap and he'll do
Yeah,
Kane,
yeah, he'll
do
imitate
Guru.
people. Yeah,
Oh, it's incredible,
the hip hop
man.
melodies.
And won't miss a beat, won't miss a word.
Won't miss a word.
That dude's like a hobgoblin, yo. Like he uses more of his brain than everybody else.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's weird because we're not from Philadelphia, but I mean, being so close to Philadelphia being here.
Weird though, because I can
we got
honestly
Philly
say,
roots.
like, if I was not from Philly, the Black Thought would still be in my top 5 MCs ever.
But when you listen to
And-
them, do you think Philadelphia? But do you hear Philadelphia?
When I hear
I hear
yeah.
Philly and Black Thought.
when I hear
Absolutely.
Dilla Duff Half-Life and Do You Want
Yeah.
More, absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
most definitely.
Absolutely.
Maybe not so
Clone.
much an Undone
Close-
or
right, exactly.
the last 2 albums.
Exactly.
You know, even in How I Got Over, I hear Philly in that. I feel like still.
Uh-huh.
All right, well, what's your number one?
My number one, man, I gotta go with
Talk about Black Thought all day.
yeah, Black Thought is not in my he's not in this list for me, but I gotta go with the Jizza, man. You know, he's my number one. This is my shocker because I didn't think singers. You had Jizza maybe like 3, maybe.
Yeah, I had Jizz at 3. Yeah.
Okay, he's my one because you know AZ's great, Big L's great, Biggie's great, but Jizza just had an onslaught of pretty much one album where it was just he masterfully. It's like a swordsman, just killing the competition. And like you said, Fish, it was like specifically done in the lane for him.
Yeah.
He didn't need the help. He got help, but he didn't need it from the other Wu members. And
All he needed was RZA.
that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, but like that Liquid Sword. I mean, obviously because it's called Swords and the whole chess theme throughout it. But the other Wu-Tang albums, I feel like that encapsulates Wu-Tang the most. Besides 36 Chambers,
The
like
skits.
the skits.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie, and
What is the movie? And I've watched it once before. It's God damn it! What is the movie that's referencing?
Shaolin versus Wu-Tang.
the Kung Fu movie. They
yeah,
sang.
Yeah, it's a Kung Fu
Shaolin.
movie.
Yeah,
I watched it while I was in London studying abroad with my boy Elliot.
Yeah, they're also watching
AKA
it.
Al Rogan.
And Kill Bill Volume 2. They're watching.
Shogun Assassin, I want to say.
Yeah.
It's something along those lines. But they take the cuts from that where the little kid is like, my father,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and everything. And that's one of the illest fucking intros and interludes ever. That's the other thing you can say about Liquid Swords is that the interludes and the intro and everything were a creepy, a dope creepiness to it that just made it like
Dark.
haunting.
Very dark.
You know?
Yeah. They like Liquid Swords is dark like the Infamous, but it's like on top of it, it's got that masterful creativity of like a movie. And you know, like Jizza's he's not the funniest. Like, you know, Biggie and Big L will give you humor,
Right,
to keep you more entertained on that level.
No DB would do the same.
ODB. So Jizza is a special listener to appreciate Jizza. I know everybody's not going like a lot of people. Jizza won't even be on their 5 on their list, but it's a specific thinker that appreciates Jizza.
Yeah.
You think he's the best lyricist in Wu-Tang?
I mean, I wouldn't argue.
Yeah.
I wouldn't argue with that. He's my number one though.
We could probably do a whole podcast on who's the best lyricist in Wu-Tang, but yeah, that's hard. I would say it's between 3. Although my favorite Wu-Tang member ever since I was a young kid was always RZA, but it was more based on everything that he does, from production to MC. I think he's an underrated MC, but I think his production obviously is the best of all Wu-Tang.
Right.
But raw MC wise, I think it's between Jizza, Ghostface, and Ray. I mean,
well, I think for his star, Method Man was so big in the
Right.
90s. I mean,
Right.
he was so big and so popular and so dope. I think Method Man. If I'm going to Mars and I want to show the people of Mars like what Wu-Tang is, I'm gonna bring Method Man with me in the 90s. And just be like, yo, this is Wu-Tang, yo. You know what I'm saying?
See, all right. Let's continue with 95.
Right. We get on topic.
We go Wu-Tang podcast.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be kind of dope.
That will be
Could be a shorter episode, like 30 minutes.
All right.
All right. So, top 5 albums is up next.
Why don't you open this one up since you haven't started one?
Oh, so we're
Okay.
We're on with albums now. So this is the humdinger, baby. This is it. This is his last.
Well, my 5th album is